Right, hello and welcome to another Expert Insight interview. My name is John Golden from SalesPOP, online sales magazine and Pipeliner CRM, joining you as usual from a sunny San Diego. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Nathan Strum, who is the CEO of Abby Connect. How you doing, Nathan?
Hi, John. Nice to see you. I'm out here in sunny Las Vegas.
Sunny Las Vegas, absolutely. That's fantastic. And you lead the company's mission to fuse human connection with cutting edge technology. Under his leadership, Abby has evolved from a leading virtual receptionist service into a full suite customer engagement platform offering AI powered and human receptionist services, live chat, smart scheduling, etc. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And by the way, just as an aside, we're actually been a customer of Abby Connect for a number of years now. Happy customer. So there you go. Uh, so we're going to talk about AI in customer service. So first of all, Nathan, just give us the state of play with Abby Connect. Like, how is AI significantly transforming the services that you offer?
Sure. Well, there's two categories. So there's the business impact to our internal systems,
Hmm.
and that has been transformative,
Hmm.
quite frankly. And then there's the product, and the product has evolved into three product offerings, if you will. We have clients that are using our human reception service as they have for 20 years.
Hmm.
You can probably see the gray hair on my head. Um, but yes, it's been 20 years. And we have the AI receptionist. People are using that as well. And then we have the hybrid solution. So you're using a solution where we answer some calls for the human, some types of calls we answer for the AI.
Right. And that obviously is very important because some people would be feared that AI would take away that human piece of it. And in some areas that human piece is critical. In some areas it's less critical.
Yeah, yeah. In some areas, so everybody wants to save money with AI, right?
Mhm.
We're not truly focused on that as the sole benefit of AI. We believe that it can actually improve customer service in certain ways. Uh, for example, uh, it's a lot more efficient with collecting information, a
Mhm.
lot more efficient with gathering information and sending. It's a lot more efficient with scheduling, with the calendar. But you're never going to replace the empathy, connection, and just true value of speaking to a human.
Mhm. How does the you tell me a little bit about how does the smart scheduling and the AI receptionist, if you're using that, what does that do in terms of efficiency and how does it work?
Sure. For us, we've had clients coming to us for the 20-year history, asking us to schedule for their callers.
Hmm.
And there's a small portion of clients historically that we could take that business from, and that's clients using very simple calendars because it's very difficult to train and retrain and uh, humans on calendaring systems,
Yep.
especially when you have a lot of variables, like a dental office, for example, or a nail salon, where there's multiple different types of services you can schedule for and different technicians. So the AI has allowed us to now offer those services to these clients where you can schedule with the AI. The AI remembers how to use the calendar system and doesn't need to be retrained.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is that's where AI becomes really cool is when you have it do things like you said, it can learn the calendaring system. It only needs to learn it once, really. It's not like us who need maybe well, me probably about 20 times before I get it right. But um, so tell me just what just your advice to other companies who are looking at AI, just from internal business point of view first, and then we'll talk product. But what would your advice be to them? Because there's a lot of people are trying to implement AI or don't know how to or are doing it piecemeal, and there's a lot of kind of confusion.
Sure. Well, since the 2022 revolution started with ChatGPT and Gemini, and now we have Anthropic Claude, um, I, things have been very surface level. And what I mean is, think back to the days when the iPhone came out, and the apps were basically just wrappers of websites. There
Yeah.
was no true intrinsic value in
Hmm.
having an app on a mobile phone. And it wasn't until companies that really figured out how to innovate, like Uber or some of the other ones, where truly the technology was required to do the service that they provide.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, today, we see a lot of people using the LLM and communicating it on a one to one basis. What I'm telling people to do is get beyond that. Look at how agents are being implemented in
Mhm.
companies. Look at how companies are throwing out rule books and recreating the entire system of how their humans interact together and cutting out friction points and interjecting AI uh, where friction points used to be. You really have to think outside of the box.
Mhm. And I think the other thing too, Nathan, is that people need to realize that they need to upskill themselves as well, because now is a great opportunity, when, especially if you can automate and take away friction points, as you said, if you can take away the routine, the mundane, that doesn't need hum, and you can have people focus on higher value activities. It's kind of up to those people to make sure that they are capable of executing and bringing added value.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, we have a sales gentleman and he is amazing at connecting with people. I mean, you would love to talk to him no matter if you're calling about our service or your pet just passed away. I mean,
Mhm.
the guy is just awesome. Now, when he looks at a CRM, his eyes go crossed and he doesn't know what he's looking at.
Mhm.
But if you take a CRM like what you guys have built with the AI and allows him to focus more on the caller
Yeah.
and less on the software, and I think that's what you guys are doing well,
Yeah.
that's where the power lies.
Yeah, no, we would obviously we would totally agree, because at the end of the day, the more the system can make you prepared and take away all, as I said, all it, you're right. In most CRMs, people do glaze over with, and unfortunately, but yeah, if you can take away that rote and routine, and then you can actually provide additional insight. Wow, the good sales, like the person you're talking about, they're just going to love that, because that gives them the ability to be even better when they talk to people, because they've all the information, they understand everything is in front of them, and they don't need to spend a lot of time, on that piece. And I think that's going to be I believe, Nathan, to be honest, I believe the time is coming when the way we interact with software is going to be through natural language, and that's
Yeah.
mostly, we're not going to learn clicks and drop downs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. And to go back to your how you talk about the salesperson
Mhm.
and whatnot. Not only they, like you said, they're happier with their job because they have these tools, but think about the amount of resources that it takes for a sales manager that to chase a salesperson like that and make
Mhm.
sure they're using the CRM properly and make sure that they're putting the notes in. That whole chasing and come to Jesus moments, if you will, talking to your employees, that goes away.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah, and as we said, I mean, the salesperson's happier, but the sales leader's happier too, because now they can focus on coaching and doing the stuff that they really want to do,
Yeah,
as opposed to being the data police.
yeah, yeah. The
Uh,
data police, I like that.
yeah. So, I mean, how have you found it, like with your human receptionists? What has AI helped them? How has that helped them to elevate their game?
Yeah, sure. So we're working on some really advanced tools now to help them. So, for example, somebody calls in, they ask a question about your company. They ask a question about SalesPOP. We need to know that answer
Right.
real quick, right? Because we don't want to come across as a third party. We want to
Mhm.
come across as somebody that's been working for you, somebody that knows you, somebody that's sitting in your office. And that's the true value of a service like ours. So if we can use AI to surface the answers more quickly and more efficiently and provide that to the receptionist, then they can provide that information and sound natural. It's not them reading a script. It's not them searching through FAQs.
Mhm.
They are speaking as a human with a human, but using AI.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely on that, and it just cuts out all that other work. So it's fantastic, and it allows them to be more confident in how they approach things. So how do you? I mean, you focus a lot on workforce development in your own organization. Are there particular types of people suited to working alongside AI? Because I feel like there's some people have really embraced it and they look on it AI as like their partner and they can do it, and there's other people are still a little wary of it. Are there particular is there particular types of people you think suited for this kind of this co-working, if you like?
I think that's a great question. I can tell you how we tackled it.
Mhm.
Very early on, we knew that we were going to have to innovate and really embrace AI as a company. And there's early adopters, as you say. There's the people that are going to take it on very naturally.
Mhm.
But we also knew that employees are going to be scared.
Yep.
They're going to think, "Is this going to replace me? Do I need to learn something new?" And especially with AI. So we started really evangelizing it in personal lives. And we started talking as leadership team and the rest of the company of how are we using AI personally?
Mhm.
How are we really enjoying it? And then once we kind of crossed that threshold with people and got them comfortable with it, then we started implementing training modules within our LMS system, not necessarily to upskill them
Right.
for a new job at Abby, but
Mhm.
just in general for them to learn AI and understand it and be ready for the new economy. And so we just feel like a lot of education is needed, and you, as the company, are responsible for providing that to the employee.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, I would agree because I think too many people are leaving it to their employees' own devices, and they're not. I think they're still treating these as apps and stuff and whatever, peripheral apps instead of as strategic tools and ones that you need to learn how to use, just like any other tool. I mean, I think that's unfortunately a lot of people still using the LLMs as Google searches. They just put in a search, put in a single line prompt, hit return, and then take the answer that comes out instead of realizing that if you engage with it and go deep and really think of your prompts and then like refine them and talk back and forth, basically all is you're working with an expert. It's phenomenal, but unfortunately a lot of people are still treating it like Google searches.
Yeah, I agree. I just spoke to an author earlier today, and in the very beginning, we all thought, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen to authors? What's going to
Mhm.
happen to marketers?" It's all about content generation that's going
Yeah.
to completely wipe this whole industry out. This gentleman, I'm telling you, he has really embraced it, and it's really fun to hear him. What he does is he writes his he breaks it down into paragraphs. Actually, I'm
Wow.
surprised how much time he spends on this. He breaks it down into paragraphs. He writes his own work, and then he runs it through the LLM and asks for advice. And he gets a score on how well the copy is, and
Wow.
then based off of that score and that advice, he rewrites it himself. So he's not having the LLM rewrite it for him, but he is receiving feedback and advice from the LLM.
Wow. No, that's really interesting. That's a really interesting. That's an excellent way of using it because, yeah, because I mean, the last thing we need is AI slop content being churned out by everybody. And tell me a little bit about what do you think are the ethical considerations around this? Do you think people should know when they're dealing, what they're dealing with, whether it's a human, whether it's AI, or do you think that's going to matter?
I think it's important in certain situations.
Mhm.
I do. I think that it's very important over the phone. So we always want to announce that the call is you're speaking to an AI. Now we leave that option up to our clients.
Right.
That is their decision, but I do advise that they announce it. But anytime you're looking at a likeness of another person, a real person, I
Mhm.
believe that it should be very upfront that you're speaking or communicating with AI.
Yeah, no, I would agree because I think at the end of the day is that if the AI is effective, people are going to be fine with it. If it's
Yeah.
not, then they're not. I mean, it's simple as that. I've come across many instances now where people are using AI and they're using AI for customer service or whatever. I've had some experience when I'm like, wow, fantastic! I got what I needed immediately. I've had the other ones when I'm like, this AI
Mm,
doesn't have a clue.
mm,
Can I
I
please
know.
have a person? And then what do you do when you ask for the person? You get a bunch of like, well, clarify this or clarify that, and you just say, just give me a person.
And that's the magic between human and AI products.
Yeah.
You've got to marry that human in there. You really do. If you just try to force AI on people, they're going to get to the situation that you're in and be frustrated.
Yeah, and it seems as well. I mean, I'm sure you spend a lot of time like looking at it, obviously from your customer point of view and users and how it operates. But I feel like that's some people are missing out on that part of it. They're not looking at it. They're implementing things without looking at how it actually really works from a customer, but from a user point of view.
Yeah, and how the customers are responding to it. We have a very, very interesting use case. We have a lawyer that we've been working with for many, many years.
Hmm.
We answer her phones. We've been answering, with the human receptionist.
Yeah.
And she came to us and said, I'd like to add some answering after hours, but I don't want to pay for it. So we all know the love language of small business is free.
Yeah.
So we embraced it and we said, hey, listen, we've got this new product. And her type of law is elder law.
Oh,
And we thought, hey, if we can introduce this product and we can see how that they react to it, this is really going to be a cool use case. We're
yeah.
really going to learn something here. Fast forward to today, she's one of our biggest advocates. Her callers love it. They speak to it like it's a human. They know it's an AI,
Yeah.
but they're not yelling at it. They're not saying, "Oh, press one, press
Mhm.
two, give me customer service." They are really taking to it, and it's really something phenomenal to see.
Yeah, and I think that's that. I mean, I think that's where a lot of them need to get to. I had, because it's funny. Yesterday, like I had to call my bank about something. I won't name the bank to shame.
Sure.
But, like, I'm thinking I'm still stuck in the old days where, like, if number 1, I timed it, it was 3 minutes of messages before
Mm.
I could get to, the thing. Then it was press 1, press it, then it didn't even have the option that I wanted. Then you have to have an argument where you're just shouting customer service, customer service as it's trying to get. And I was thinking, like, though people are so over that stuff. So if you implement things like what you're talking about, I mean, you're gonna have a major competitive differentiator.
Yeah, yeah. And so one thing that we do is we've created an AI agent to listen to the call and sense when there's frustration. And
Ah.
if there's frustration, we take that call straight to a human.
Oh,
We don't
wow.
even wait for the caller to ask for a human because we got to take that friction out of the use of AI. And that's the only way that we're going to get a true adoption.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing, Nathan. That's an incredible way of looking at it. Yeah, where you're gauging. So you get me yesterday would have been pretty apparent after quite quickly that maybe you should put me over to a human.
Yeah, I would say so. It sounds like it.
Yeah, but that's fascinating though, because that is really bridging the thing, and that's making AI so much more powerful. I mean, the use of AI so much more powerful if it can assess like the tone and the frustration and how the other person is feeling.
Using AI to figure out when not to use AI.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. That's excellent. So what's the future for Abby Connect? Like what's your next innovations? You touched on a few earlier, but where do you see all this going?
We're really excited about product, but we're really also excited about our company and how it operates,
Mhm.
and really revolutionizing entire departments and entire workflows. We've got a process of taking customer feedback and filtering it through the product department and filtering that through the engineering team and then implementing that into the software. That's a very long cycle.
Mhm.
And I know that you know this well as a technology provider.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I know that you're constantly listening to your clients and
Mhm.
using that feedback. But that's a long cycle, and there's a lot of people involved, and there's a lot of friction points, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of communication, and people break down at certain points in that chain. What we'd like to do is completely throw that whole rule book out and connect the customer with the software and
Yeah.
have the customer voice really be part of the roadmap for the software, and be able to creatively deploy instances of our software for our customers and wipe out that entire friction.
Wow. So basically, yeah, yeah. So basically, like you communicate with the product, and then hopefully like you do whatever is needed to remove the friction points and continue to make it more efficient. Like I think that'll be fascinating to see that. I also agree about the revolutionizing of internal. I mean, we have, I don't know how many today, like probably 200 automatic processes that go on a daily basis. Like this fire lots of things in our business and allows it's made us like tremendously productive.
Oh, absolutely. And it goes straight to it's not that it goes to your bottom line, it goes to your customer.
Goes to your customer.
It goes to your customer, and then they can enjoy your product at a better price.
Yeah. And it goes to your customer and also helps the sanity of your employees too.
Absolutely. We love that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, listen, thanks very much, Nathan. There's been such fascinating insights. All of Nathan's information will be below this video. But before we go, please do remind people about Abby Connect.
I will. Thanks, John. I'd love for everybody to come and try our product for free at abby.com, abby.com. We'd love to have you, and I've really enjoyed being on your show, John.
Yeah, thank you. And as I said, I'm just giving another endorsement. We're a customer, very happy. They do a great job. So you got a thumbs up from us.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, thanks again, Nathan. Thank you for watching and listening. And I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.